4 seconds late.
Call the meeting to order. All commissioners are present. This morning, or this afternoon, we'll get the invocation from Pastor Kenneth Wade. And Chief, can you do the pledge for us after that?
Sure, Mayor.
Okay.
We pray. Lord God, Heavenly Father, we come to you this night as thankful people, thankful for the gift of our community. Thank you for the gifts of the rain. Thank you for the gifts of a bountiful harvest. Thank you for the councilmen that you've given us to serve our community. We thank you for the gifts that you've given them. We pray that you will guide them by your Spirit this night so that all the decisions that are made will be to the welfare and benefit of all those you've entrusted to their care. We pray that everything that we do will be to your glory and to your honor, the giver of all good gifts, through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord, in whose name we pray. Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item number 4, consider approval of minutes of the regular commission meeting of July 2nd, 2019.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any other discussion or corrections? Hearing none, please cast your ballot. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 5, awards, presentations, proclamations, and organizational business. 5.1, present pet available for adoption at the city animal shelter.
It's a two-headed cat.
Doubling up.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Charlotte Ringwald. I'm the adoption coordinator at Enid Animal Control. And today we have our 2 little kittens in pen 5, it's male and a female, about 10 weeks old. Somebody in the clerk office said that we should name them Mork and Mindy, so that's kind of what we're going with. They're really sweet and they're really talkative. And we've got some other kittens and some older cats, and we have lots of dogs at the shelter. Some of them are going to be available really soon. The ones we have available are posted on our Facebook. So come by the shelter and meet your new best friend. Say hello. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. Item 5.2, Bob Clemmy Memorial Proclamation. Steve?
Yes, Mayor, could you join me? I'll ask Mike, Fleming, and the family, Brett, everybody come up and join us if you would, please. Front and center, please. Thank you. Thank you all for being here this evening. The city manager wanted to, along with the mayor, wanted to make sure that we put together the Bob Fleming Memorial Proclamation. And so I'll get to read that for you, and then I'm sure the mayor will allow me to say some things. Commissioners and ladies and gentlemen, we have this proclamation to read to you this evening. But before I do so, I'd like to share with you just a few things. One of the most challenging tasks I had was put together a proclamation about Bob Clemmy and keep it all on one page. It was almost a 3 or 4 page kind of an ordeal. But in summary, Bob had received numerous awards: the Enid High School Pride of the Plainsman, City of Enid's Walk of Fame back in 1998, the Oklahoma Heritage Association Distinguished Service Award, the Salvation Army Chisholm Trail Heritage Award, Head of the Class National Cowboy Symposium, the Wrangler Award from the Cowboy Hall of Fame, Western Heritage Museum, also the American Cowboy Culture Award from the National Cowboy Symposium, and then the Oklahoma History Hall of Fame, just to name a few. But family, this is the proclamation that we want to share with you this evening. Again, thank you for being here. Whereas Robert Lee Clemmy was born on a farm in Tillman County near Hollister, Oklahoma, which is in southwest Oklahoma, on December 15, 1925, and portrayed a life of service. Bob attended Enid schools and graduated from Enid High School in 1943. And in the spirit of service, he joined the military and served in the United States Navy as an aviation ordnance man and aerial gunner instructor. And whereas, with Bob Clemmy's interest with the Chisholm Trail, he began marking the exact path that the trail took across the state of Oklahoma. The trail was marked where it crossed each section line from Red River Station, Texas, to Caldwell, Kansas. Bob spent countless hours constructing and setting over 400 concrete markers weighing approximately 200 pounds each. The goal of the project was to create interest in this important trail, hoping that someday it would become a national historic trail. And whereas, in addition to his activities on the Chisholm Trail, Bob was instrumental in preserving the Granite Horse watering trough, forged a new bayonet for the World War I Doughboy Monument by placing a monument north of Enid, marking the 3630 north latitude, also known as the Missouri Compromise Line. Furthermore, Bob Clemmy was the driving force behind getting a U.S. postage stamp created and published commemorating the run of 1893. And in 1990, Bob formed a partnership with other individuals to design and install 20 cattle, 20 cowboys, a chuck wagon, a team of mules, and a lone Native American silhouette to commemorate that the Chisholm Trail crossed nearby at North Government Springs Park. And whereas this proclamation is a testament of the life and contributions of a man that lived to serve others, giving back to his family, his church, his city, his state, and his country, and the Chisholm Trail is Robert Lee Clemmy's legacy of making a difference. Truly, Bob Clemmy is a monument of a man. Congratulations, family.
Do you know whoever stood by the microphone is the one that has to speak?
Well, thank you so much. I know that Dad's smiling down, as he would say, grinning from ear to ear, and so happy because I know he loves so many people in this room. It's a great honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Our pleasure. Thank you. You bet.
Congratulations, Mike.
And I think we have another presentation in regard to some internships, and the city manager, Gerald Gilbert, along with the mayor, will make some additional presentations, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, it's my pleasure to recognize 4 interns that have worked for the city this year. One of them's actually been here before, but we wanted to make sure we recognized everybody because we have 4 in different areas. And so I'm just going to start off the list. Actually, why don't I just call off your names and you come up here and I'll say something, and then I would like your supervisors to come up as well. So Faith Melton and Everett, Daniel Bales and Ono, Emma and Jenny, and Josh. I've got a few things to say for you, and I know you really impressed David Mason, Commissioner, and me. So, David, you may want to say a few things.
Sure.
Yes, Faith has worked for us for, I guess, 6 weeks or so now. We have about 2 weeks left. She's specifically working out in Public Works, working on cartograph, and doing great things there. So I don't know if you want to say a few things.
Faith has been working on our software program that tracks all our assets, and she's been entering all her streets and stuff in there. When we started, we had about 20 streets in there because we're just starting getting it in there. She's done over 1,400 streets in cartograph. We've got almost 1,000 signs in there now. which is about 10,000 away to getting to her goal on that. And she's working all our intersections, and she's been running around with our traffic guys learning that stuff, so she's been doing really good for us.
Okay. And I can't resist telling you a story. I told Faith this the first time that I saw her, probably, because when I saw the paperwork with her name, I thought, I think I know her. And so I went and talked to her, and I said, I think I know you from before you were born, even. I don't think I'd ever met you before, but I work for your mother, and she's still the best boss I've ever had, with the exception of you seven. So I told you I was going to probably have to tell that story. So anyway, it's good to have you this summer, and wish you the best. Daniel, you've been at the airport doing great things for us there. Ono, do you want to talk about what Daniel's been up to?
Sure. Our objective in bringing Daniel in was to give him the full gamut, let him look at everything. My personal was to get him into the finance bit so that when Caleb or when my assistant isn't there, I don't have to worry about it. But he's done a great job. He's learned the finance part of it. He's actually run out with our line guys, done the inspections on the field, fueled aircraft, marshaled aircraft, parked aircraft, put aircraft in the hangar. He's seen the whole thing, and so I think our objective was met. And he's done a great job. I will say one particular thing about him, he's one of those self-starters, and I always appreciate that. And when he sees something that needs to be done, or he sees someone out there that could use a hand, he goes out there and takes charge. He wants to learn, and so he's got a great future in front of him. Thanks, Daniel.
And Emma, you've been working at the library. I know Jenny, I'm sure she's been doing wonderful things there, because there's wonderful things happening at the library.
So one of the things that we're working on at the library is digitizing some of our old files, and Emma has been working on that all summer long. It's kind of a thankless job, but it's a job that we don't have necessarily time to do, and it's a job that volunteers can't do because of privacy issues, and so it's something that an employee actually has to do. And so Emma has been taking care of it for us this summer, and we're really, really thankful that we have her, because we wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. I think she's gotten at like 4 years worth of records digitized and uploaded into our system, and that's created quite a lot of free space in our files. So we're really excited that she was here with us this year.
And Josh Faulkner, I know, Mike, you're here from the PACE committee, so you know firsthand what Josh has been up to.
Well, first of all, Josh is a super guy. Plus, he's no issue cowboy. So we felt the need to do a database of all of the public art projects in the city. Quite extensive, more than you would ever realize. And he's been bird dogging it all summer. He's got a great Excel sheet put together that's got every piece and its valuation and who did the piece and how much it costs to upkeep it and everything. So it's a wonderful thing. We got our money's worth out of him.
All right. First, I want to thank the supervisors that are here that spoke on behalf of the interns they had. It's a lot easier to do things yourself than it is to have somebody help you do them, especially on the start end of that. On the other hand, how we grow the professional people we need in the future is to provide mentorship on the way. So thank you to the supervisors that had interns this year. I appreciate your efforts. And I have a coin for each one of our interns that's leaving. The coin says Oklahoma, 125 years, 1893 to 2018. And on the other side, it says Enid, Oklahoma. These are special coins we have made for this year because our city turned 125 years old this year. Well, we've been struggling along without your help, but with your help, I expect we've got another 125 years coming. So I want to thank you all personally for your efforts. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. All right. There you go. Thank you very much. You bet. Thank you.
Still have 2 more weeks or so, I think, right? Good.
Good work. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Item 5.4, Advanced Development Authority Quarterly Update. Mr. Cooper?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Really good to see everybody, particularly the new commissioners, Mason, Stallings, and Allen. And don't always don't forget that if you ever need anything from me or have a question about anything we're doing, don't ever hesitate to call. I'm always available. So I'll give you kind of a wrap on what we're doing at the federal level, what we're doing at the state level, and also how it wraps into community as well. And of course, it's all in our base protection efforts for Vance Air Force Base. As you know, back in June, we kind of highlighted the federal year with the DC trip. Several of you went on that trip. We had several meetings, met with, of course, our congressional delegation, and met with a few of the leaders inside the Pentagon that have impact on the things that we're doing. MILCON, of course, we continue to push for the MILCON project, the squad ops facility. We're trying to get it in the what they call the Air Force 5-year plan. Of course, we coordinate that not only with Air Force through leadership at headquarters, not just here, but at ATC Command. We also make sure that the folks inside the Pentagon know what the importance are for us for MILCON improvement out there. And of course, the squad ops facility kind of helps us move us to the next level, particularly with the number of pilots that we're training now. So it improves not just their functions to train people, but it also, as I understand, a lot of quality of life improvements inside that new facility. So we've pressed to get it in their 5-year plan, because if we're going to either get it in a regular program budgeted item, or if we get it, the only other way to get it funded is what they call their unfunded requirements at the end of the year when there's money left on the table. If it's in their 5-year plan, if it's also a priority, and if it's, you know, ranks high enough, then you can apply dollars that are left on the table at the end of the year. So we're working both of those tracks. Leadership in the Air Force and the Pentagon understand what the priority is, so I think that we can get that done. The other things that we've been working on is the Intergovernmental Support Agreement. 3 years ago, we moved it from 5 to 10 years, which gives government authorities the ability to make agreements with the military to do projects, things that help them out. Because some projects were large enough, it took a longer payout to, you know, for you to be able to enter into agreements with them. So we're trying to move it from 10 to 20 years. And particularly for us, it would help us more rapidly, I think, make the decision to do the 100-bed dorm that they have. So in our meetings at the Pentagon, we discussed that. While that's not going to happen this year in the Defense Authorization Bill, we think we have a pathway, because they've agreed to work with us, and we've got local developers and others that we'll work with that could build that type of thing. You'll see us put together a request to, they've agreed that we can do a 10-year agreement with a 5-year option. So if we put something together, you know, that allows us to get that done, then I think that you'll see that happen here in the next couple of months. So we'll work directly with our local developers to see that we get that. The other thing is the Defense Community Infrastructure Program. That's a program that we got authorized a year ago, but it wasn't appropriated. And that's the one that helps communities and state leverage federal dollars to do things that the Defense Department and any of the services deem important for their mission. In other words, help them, what helps them increase mission capability, reduce costs, protect their overall mission. Things like sustainability, things like water. Oh, we have a water project that's very important. Could be alternative energy projects. It could be, you know, a variety of things that the Defense Department deems appropriate. So we're trying, the program was approved for 10 years. Now we're working to get funding. The House has put $30 million to that. You'll see the Senate probably come up with some dollars, and then when it goes to conference, it'll be worked out to see what funding goes to that in year one. They want to be able to do a handful of projects so that the program works. So I think that you'll see projects that are ready, like our water project, might come to the top rather rapidly on whatever dollars. That would probably be anywhere from $10 to $15 million grants to, you know, to marry up with state and community dollars to get projects done. So that's basic on that. On that. So I feel as good as you can at this moment. You know, all the the National Defense Authorization Bill, probably not going to be finalized till it's usually September, October timeframe, but it's generally one of the first ones to be done and get agreement on because it is defense. So you'll see us continue to work on that. Also, we were able to brief the clearinghouse, the Director of Department of Defense clearinghouse, which is the airspace protection effort for oversight entity inside the Pentagon. We updated them on our airspace protection bill that we passed and how that's impacting what it is that we do. And of course, they're very thankful, the Air Force and Department of Defense, because this is the model of what people will use across the U.S. So that's very good. So at the state level, what we focused on working with the governor and the leadership of the House and Senate with two things. One, increase the Military Planning Commission funding back to levels of where it was at. It reduced down to $700,000 based on where our budget has been for the state of Oklahoma the last 4 or 5 years. We moved it back to $900,000, so now we have a little bit more money. And I think every year, because the governor's committed to improving that because he sees the importance of how we've been able to sustain our missions, increase all of the bases in the state have increased missions, including the Guard in the state. So a little bit of seed money from the state, marry up with state and federal dollars, and we all know here what impact that's had. So that was one thing. The other thing was the Airspace Protection Bill 2118. That was a remake of the previous 2 years prior to that. We had passed legislation, but we certainly found out we had some things that needed to be improved in that. That was passed overwhelmingly. Before, we had to struggle and fight and fight. We had only one negative vote, no vote, in the House and Senate. So that tells you how feelings have changed about how we need to protect our number one most important asset, which is airspace in the state of Oklahoma. And the reason that it is for all of the bases, because now the Army uses airspace quite a bit, so as well, and a lot of their training down at Fort Sill. So combine that with what the Air Guard uses in the state, it's very important to us. So I think we've now kind of locked down on permanent protection for that. Another thing that's not only state, but it's federal as well. Also, because of airspace, I've worked with OEA, the Office of Economic Adjustment, to get we're getting a $1.2 million grant to do airspace mapping. So we'll map all the military training routes, approaches to runways, bombing ranges, and drop zones in the state, and weather radar, what's the impact, but digitally map where all that's at, so nobody in the future will have any worry about where things to protect are in this state. So we'll make that available. It'll be a digital thing that'll be created. Probably take 12 months for them to do it. Bids will go out in a couple of weeks for that. So that's a very good enhancement to our overall airspace protection. The last thing, unless there's any question I'll talk about, would be the 2 years ago, I'd asked the OSUIT to perform an assessment of the defense industry in the state. What they call a defense industry adjustment grant was to look at the defense industry in the state that supports the Guard, but also the military in our state. What is it? Where is it? How could we? What do we need to do better to allow for increased mission and things like that? Of course, one of the first things that rose to the top was our workforce. As we know, in economic development world, workforce is kind of the key. It is the key in this as well. We know the aircraft maintenance issues we have out at Vance, Altas, Tinker, all of them have that. So what you'll see is, and this will be announced in a couple of weeks as well, where I was able to obtain about a $1.7 million grant. We've done the assessment, so we have that, but now to implement some of the things that from that study, we're getting this $1.7 million grant. We'll marry up with OSUIT and Career Tech to develop some places where there'll be probably a new facility built, and it'll take more money than this, but the state and the other educational entities will kick in with this as well. But through Career Tech, OSUIT has a facility in Okmulgee. You'll see something, probably here and probably in Oklahoma City, where we'll create training for those type of things. We'll work closely, these educational entities will work real closely with the bases to understand, well, what is it? What do we need? What type of person is it that we need? Like, you know, all the aircraft work that's done out there. So we'll develop training for that. We'll create facilities for that, but that's all come from that industry adjustment grant. So you'll see us try to implement that statewide, spread that out statewide, because we know where the bases are that have problem, but or have issues, but we also know doing a facility near the Tulsa area helps as well, because long-term they could possibly, you know, have the F-35 there as well. So that's kind of some of the things that we have going on. It's a lot on our plate, but all is good. So if there's any other questions, that will be it.
I've got one question. What these people that go to career tech and become an aircraft mechanic, coming out of school, what kind of wage would they make? What's realistic on that?
George or the commander, you know, you might, Rusty, you'd probably know that better than I would, but.
I don't know offhand. They have a collective bargaining agreement that's used out at the base by the contractor, and it's almost like the old military pay scale, where the longer you're there and the higher grade you are, that'll determine your wages. But starting pay is actually pretty good.
I will say too, you know, one of the things that we've done through all of our studies through BRAC and all that, the economic impact, one of the things, you know, in Enid, the highest, it's the largest employer, Advanced, but it's also the highest per capita income jobs in the community or in the region. And really the reason they are is because of those jobs. So I don't know what the overall cost is, but the largest number, I think, of employees we have out there are aircraft. It would be similar to the industry, I would say, like American Airlines depot in Tulsa or Spirit. So it's similar jobs like that. So.
It's the competitive pricing. So basically, you know, to keep up with the civilian populace and how they're paying their folks, our contractors are competitive to where, you know, they have opportunities, one, to stay in the local area, you know, because we're homegrown, you know, growing those folks. So the folks that are working out in maintenance right now have been there for years and years and years. And as they reach certain milestones, you know, the pay progresses upward. And it also, you know, cost of living and how it rises, that as well as how the wages flux.
I just know that we always have an issue with people leaving and going to the oil field, which yep. I understand that because they can go make so much money. And I just didn't know, is that a competitive thing?
I guess it could be, but a lot of those people, because they have their skills, a lot of times what happens, I know Altus has a problem with this, a lot of times if jobs come open, they're either going to probably go to Tinker if something comes open, because they want to, you know, live in a larger community, or they may come here. We can lose them as well. Generally, they would leave somewhere based on their skills. I'm not saying they wouldn't go to the oil field. Some of them probably do if that's an opportunity for them. But a lot of them, because of the skill they have, they're going to go where that skill's at. So.
But if the question is like, would they come here, work here for a while till they can get on with Delta? I don't think we have that issue as much as they do with pilots. Pilots have that issue more than we do. And I think the longer the mechanic stays here, the longer he's likely to stay here. They end up getting comfortable. They like the community. And the next thing you know, they've been here 40 years and their son is working here, and so is their grandson.
And the other thing that's kind of different from us, I'm sure you know this, is that, you know, our aircraft mechanic types are not blue suiters. I mean, they're regular civilians, where at most bases they are either blue suiters or what do we call them, GS employee. Or, yeah. I mean, so it's different because not only are they regular citizen like you and I, but they more likely live in your town. So it's a little different than the blues. And so and again, that's good for us because that distinguishes us from the others. And usually it's cheaper cost to train because of that. But what, one other thing, and I forgot, and I'll answer any other question you got it, but the project that we're moving forward on this year, you know, like we've extended the runway, we've done the ramp, done all the different things. Well, this year, the wing commander asked, there's the opportunity to purchase what they call a tower display workstation, and I would look at it, it's essentially a radar. It's kind of a repeater radar from what they do at Vance. It gives them situational awareness look, more anything that they can do to look at a situation differently, seaplanes and things like that that are flying is better for them. So they would like to have one of those advanced, so we have the opportunity to do that. It's the cost probably, as Ono told me, is probably around $1 million, but 1.4 over a 10-year period also allows for maintenance for that facility. I mentioned that to the governor because we always try to coordinate through the Military Planning Commission with the legislative leaders and the governor what's key to here. How can we help them increase mission capability, provide safety and things like that? So you'll see this will be our next project. The governor said, I have a meeting next Tuesday with the Department of Commerce, Brent Kissling and others, because they are going to partner with us to get this done. So that's how I think that the legislative leaders and our governor are really in tune to some of the things that we need to do. So I'll let you know the next time. I'll kind of update you on where that's happening and how that's going to happen. So I think that's a good project. With that, is there anything else? Okay,
Nope,
otherwise, good to see you.
Thanks, Mr. Cooper, appreciate it. Okay. Item number 6, administration. 6.1, consider and take action with respect to a resolution of the City of Enid, Oklahoma, the city, approving action taken by the Enid Municipal Authority, the authority, authorizing issuance, sale, and delivery of the authority's taxable series 2019B Clean Water SRF promissory note. Note to Oklahoma Water Resources Board, ratifying and confirming a lease agreement, ratifying and confirming sales tax agreement pertaining to a year-to-year pledge of certain sales tax revenue, declaring an emergency, and containing other provisions related thereto.
Yeah, Mayor, John Wolf, our financial advisor, is here to speak to this, but this refinances some of our wastewater debt. So John, probably if you could come up and explain it. I know we talked about it, I think, study session last time when Alan Brooks was here.
That's correct.
So we have action items on tonight, and if you could explain to him why it makes sense and what we're doing or what we're talking about.
Certainly. The part of the process that we've gone through over the last 2 to 3 years regarding the financings associated with your cold water project, we were looking at a plan of different financings as you got so far down the road on the projects with engineering and site acquisition, so forth, till you eventually got to construction, that we had to adopt a philosophy that at every step we would have to put the city in a position regarding the available revenues that we were graciously approved by the voters with the sales tax years back, that we would be able to afford the project. And one of the aspects of paying back the debt had to do with the different types of utility customers that the city has and different rate structures, any potential contracts with private industry, so forth. We wanted the city to be in the best position in order to address the eventual payback of the financings that we would do for the project in full. And part of that was to look at your existing wastewater treatment plant and look at would anything down the road as far as future financings, would the city be limited in doing various types of financings based on their rate structure, any type of special contracts that you would have with any one type of customer. And so we discuss the possibility of potentially looking at any debt that you had associated with your wastewater treatment facility. What could we do with that particular debt that would put you in a better position? And we had, in concept, originally looked at the loan that you had with Oklahoma Water Resources Board that you incurred back in 2010. This was a Clean Water SRF loan. It was at a 2.81% fixed rate that goes out to March of 2032. So a little over about a 22-year transaction, fixed rate 2.81. You would think that's a great rate. Fixed won't change, but one of the things we had to analyze going forward and looking at your broad customer base, would that loan be affected by any type of arrangements you make going forward? And the only loan that you have on the wastewater treatment plant is that particular loan. And so we discussed the concept because that loan is funded from the Clean Water SRF program. You have different pots of money that come into that loan program and go out to you. You have three pots. You have SRF or Clean Water loan or Clean Water federal appropriations every year, 8 to 10 million on average over the last 20 years. You also have money that's being paid back by those borrowers of that program, money that's coming in. And then you have a piece that comes from proceeds from a revenue bond that the Oklahoma Water Resources Board issued. And those bonds are all tax exempt. And so in looking at particular, or to put the city in the best position to look at maybe alterations in future utility rate structures or contracts, one of the options was to convert the portion of that loan to a taxable transaction. In essence, you were to, any type of arrangements you would make going forward regarding the wastewater treatment plant, you wouldn't have to concern yourself with tax laws associated with that particular financing if we could refinance that loan, or at least a portion of that. And so we spoke with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. About 43% of that loan was from bonds that were issued that were tax-exempt bonds, and talked about the concept of the board possibly switching, using cash from their program and not using tax-exempt bonds, and basically flipping those dollars. That would you'd have to do a reissuance, but that would put you in a position that was certainly a lot more flexible in what kind of arrangements you make going forward. And fortunately, the Water Board, Oklahoma Water Resources Board, had done a conversion or a refinancing on a Clean Water SRF loan one time before, so there was some precedent set. And once precedent set, I can't remember a lot of things, but we remember precedent. So we approached the board, talked about a possible refinancing, and the board was very receptive. The positive thing is you only have a little under 13 years left on that loan. You were at a 2.81%. In order to restructure that 43% of what you have outstanding, which is like 10.7 million, they would recalculate the rate based on the remaining term, not the full term. So as you know, the shorter the term, the lower the interest rate. And we just happened to be in another significant drop in interest rates. So this may have been mentioned to you at the last session, in the work session from the last meeting. But today, if you were to be able to close and lock a rate in today, your rate would go fixed rate from a 281 to a 174. So what this equates to, if rates stay the same, we're looking at approximately net savings annually of about $50,000, $51,000 a year for almost the next 13 years, about $650,000. And that is net after paying our firm and Alan's firm to put the transaction together, go to the water board. That's after that, so it's net of that. This was an opportunity that the board saw a value that with the project that you have in front of you and ahead of you, that lowering your debt service payments to this tune does nothing but put you in a better position to be able to address your debt payments on the proposed project as we see now. And that's the position that they took, and they know this, that the project is a mammoth undertaking, and they've stepped up and said they would address and consider this at their August 20th board meeting. We'll be submitting an application tomorrow or Thursday. We've been in conversation with the board's finance staff and talking about the structure and so forth. So just a matter of us submitting the application, and we'll be set to go. And we would actually close this transaction, or estimating, August 27th. And so this was a good benefit for the city. I'm not going to run down the streets of it's a very unique opportunity, and I don't think it's going to be offered multiple times, but I think it's important because, like I said, the board saw the mammoth undertaking you were taking and certainly wants to help you out. Well, be glad to answer any questions.
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be abstaining.
Okay.
I move for the emergency. We have a timing issue, correct, Carol?
Okay.
Yes.
You have a motion for emergency?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, wait till we clear it. Please cast your ballot. Okay, and you'll abstain again? Okay. Both motions carried 6-0.
Well, 6-1, 6-1.
I'm sorry, 6-1.
Clarify, an abstention counts as a no vote? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Item number 6.2, consider resolution authorizing a general fund transfer of $41,500 to the Enid Public Transportation Authority.
Move to approve.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 7, consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Okay?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion from anybody? Seeing none, please cast your ballot. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 8, recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. Item number 9, trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority rescheduled regular meeting are all in attendance. Item number 10, Enid Municipal Authority rescheduled regular meeting is now in session. Item 10.1, waive finance procedures manual requirements and award a blanket purchase order for the acquisition of chlorine gas for use in water treatment process from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020.
Lou, would you explain, we use chlorine gas, and chlorine is on the state contract, but not in gas cylinder form?
Right, the chlorine gas from Brentag is currently the only one who supplies us in the 1-ton cylinders. We have 1-ton cylinders out at plant number 2 and plant number 1, where we actually chlorinate our water. We pull water from the wells, chlorinate it with 1-ton cylinders with chlorine gas, and Brentag's the only one that's able to provide us with that service in Oklahoma, with Oklahoma State contract.
How many gallons of water will 1 pound of chlorine gas chlorinate? It's a 89 cents a pound price.
It's 1 pound of chlorine gas at a dose of 2 milligrams per liter is about 10,000, between 10,000, 18,000 gallons.
Interesting. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballot. Motion carries 7-0. Item 10.2, consider and take action with respect to a resolution agreeing to file applications with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board, OWRB, for financial assistance through the OWRB Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program, with the loan proceeds being for the purpose of refinancing certain wastewater stream improvements, approving professional services agreements, and containing other provisions related thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballots. Okay. Motion carries 6-1 with abstention from Commissioner Stallings. Okay, item number 3. Consider and take action with respect to a resolution of the Enid Municipal Authority, the borrower, approving and authorizing clean water SRF loan from the Oklahoma Water Resources Board in the total aggregate principal amount not to exceed $11 million, approving the issuance of its clean water SRF promissory note in the total aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $11 million, securing by a pledge of revenues and authorizing its execution, approving and authorizing the execution of a loan agreement for clean water SRF loan, designating a local trustee and approving and authorizing the execution of a trust agreement, approving and authorizing the execution of a security agreement, ratifying and confirming sales tax agreement pertaining to a year-to-year pledge of certain sales tax revenue of the city of Enid, the Oklahoma, the city, approving various covenants, approving and authorizing payment of fees and expenses, and containing other provisions related thereto.
This is, thank you.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Anybody want me to read that again?
Nope.
Please. All right, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 6-1 with an abstention from Commissioner Stallings. Item number 4, award a lease of 3 2020 Mack LR 64R Heil DPF Python 28-yard eject-style refuse compactor trucks for the Public Utilities Division to the state contractor of United Engines Incorporated, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and the amount of $865,500, and authorize the execution of all required documents.
I have questions.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure everyone on the dais understands what's going on here. However, so when did we go to leasing all these trucks?
Let me give you some background. Back in around 2005, we started to use the side loaders to help us out with manpower and getting people, off of the workers' comp cases because we were putting our trash into the back of trucks. And it's about 3 years ago, we were having big problems with our trucks. We couldn't keep our trucks on the road. So what we did is we leased 3 trucks instead of buying 1 truck to allow it. We currently have 6 routes that we pick up trash 4 days per week, okay? We're able to lease 1 or 3 trucks for almost the same price as we could buy 1 truck. So every 3 years, we're gonna be going out every other, we're basically gonna lease 3 trucks 3 years ago. We're gonna renew that lease this year, and in a year and a half, we're gonna do it again. So it's gonna be a revolving three trucks, a year and a half later, 3 trucks, a year and a half later, 3 trucks, and try to keep our trucks good shape, running on the roads, picking up our trash, getting the load off of the maintenance departments because we were having so much troubles with our trucks. So basically, we use up the newness of the trucks for 3 years.
So do they repair the trucks when we break them, or?
We have a maintenance agreement and a maintenance guarantee from the trucks, and then once the trucks get out of the year's warranty, then we have to fix them. But with 3 new trucks, our maintenance has really gone down.
So if we catch one on fire, they'll replace it?
If we catch one on fire, the insurance company will replace it.
That's a good thing. So we've done that a few times. So.
And we really looked at leasing more lately over the course of the last several years where it seems to make sense on large, expensive pieces of equipment that may be difficult to afford the number that we need right now. It gives us the flexibility to get what we need now on a piece of equipment that's typically going to be worn out in 3 to 5 years. So it has turned out to make a lot of sense, we think, on leasing trash trucks and golf carts. And I think we may have leased a compactor out of
Compactor as well. But we get the good time out of the truck. With the first 3 years of the truck, we're getting that best production from that truck. And then after that, they actually buy it back from us. A company buys it back from us. We're buying a truck for $288,000. After the end of the 3 years, a Carolina company buys those trucks back at $131,000 from us, and then we in turn it goes to somebody else, and it becomes their maintenance issue or their problems.
Great. Well, I interned out at the landfill and the solid waste department when I was 17 years old. So anything that goes out there, I'm a proponent of. So I move to approve.
Okay, a motion?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Waddell, second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, item number 5, approval of claims in the amount of $78,176.03. Okay, motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ezell. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 11, adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Item number 12, Enid Public Transportation Authority rescheduled regular meeting is now in session. Item 12.1, consider a resolution increasing the 2019-2020 fiscal financial plan for the Enid Public Transportation Authority for purchase of 4 vehicles and radio system under the 5339B grant agreements in the amount of $276,659.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Ezell.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Norwood. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 12.2, award purchase of 4 24-foot minibuses to Creative Bus Sales Incorporated of Irving, Texas, in the amount of $257,072, and authorize execution of the purchase documents.
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion.
I had a quick question.
Second.
Are we increasing the size of the fleet, or are we replacing existing vehicles?
We are replacing at this time. It is an option to either increase or replace, but because our vehicles are so old at this time, we are replacing. So, yes, sir.
Thank you.
So will the other ones be sold? Is that?
Yes, sir. We've already gotten rid of several of them because they haven't run. They've lost a transmission, an engine, or something in that regard. But yeah, we will be getting rid of others and have to sell them publicly.
They go to auction, or what's the process?
Yeah, we have with the vehicle with maintenance, we do the public surplus online where we sell our vehicles there.
Thank you.
We got a deal on them, didn't we? I thought there was some money involved with this that we got. Is that correct or no?
For the new vehicles that we are getting, yes, we receive, ODOT provides us with approximately 80% of the funds, and then we, Enid Transit and the City of Enid, provide 20% of those funds.
And the question begs, why 2 separate orders for 4 and then 2 same length buses?
Because both of those are considered 5339B funds, which it indicates, and ODOT provided us the opportunity to request funds for those buses. They had money left over out of those same funds, so therefore we had to go through the same process, but for the same funds that they had extra left over.
Okay, thank you.
In the original budget, there was a line item to purchase 2 buses. So then the other 4 were the additional ones.
We'll take it.
So what she's saying is we took advantage of an opportunity to get some money from the federal government, put a little city money with it, and get more new buses.
Yes.
It's a great deal for the city.
So how many buses do the city in the fleet?
We have 15 at this time.
Okay.
Now, is that counting the ones that are only running, or is that total?
That's total, but right now all of them are running. I'm not going to say at this very moment, but
Generally.
yes, they're all on the road at this time.
How many of those will we be selling?
Since we're receiving 6 vehicles, we'll be discontinuing 6 vehicles that we now have.
And just to manage expectations, it typically is a while before we get these in, right?
Right, they have to build them. Once we put the PO in, which I will do first thing in the morning once I receive the paperwork, so we can get this done before the next fiscal year ends, September 30th. It'll take about 6 months for them to build all of them.
So in roughly 6 months, when they're delivered, you'll see some old buses going on the auction block through publicsurplus.com.
It's kind of along the same question, but I know at one time we talked that there was not as many advertising dollars anymore being put on the side of those buses. Do we have a group or a committee or a department that actually works towards that to generate those additional dollars, or?
We do have EPTA, which Mary is the supervisor of, and we used to have a separate EPTA board, but that board is you now, all of you. So if there's ever, you know, an effort to maybe have a smaller group, a subcommittee or something, we welcome that. But Mary, do you want to talk about our advertising efforts? And
You bet. On the buses specifically on themselves, we have recently hired a new PR and marketing technician that is under us, not under Steve or his department, but they are under EPTA. And that's a big portion of what she does, is go out and work on sales for advertising on our buses. And she's only been here for about a month. She's already received one advertiser, the Alzheimer's Awareness Walk. And so they are on there. We have 2 other contracts for advertising, and we're looking for, this is my thing putting out there, we're looking for a lot more advertisers to get out there, and it's a huge opportunity to be able to put your company or your organization out there and be all over the entire town of Enid.
Okay. All right. We had a motion by Commissioner Ezell. It was seconded by Commissioner Norwood. If there's no other discussion, please cast your ballots. Okay, motion carries 7-0. Item number 12.3, award purchase of 2 24-foot minivans to Creative Bus Sales Incorporated, Irving, Texas, in the amount of $128,586, and authorize the execution of purchase documents.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 12.4, approval of claims in the amount of $575.32. So moved. Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 13, adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item number 14, public comments. Mr. Cooper signed up first, but he's already addressed us. Ms. Levesque.
Diane Levesque, 1324 West Stoke Avenue, and thank you for pronouncing my name right. If you're going to go and buy vehicles because they're a great deal, let me remind you of the great deal that was an oversized fire truck that broke the bridge on Randolph. If you're going to go ahead and think of that in terms of additional revenue coming in from advertising, you would be well advised to apportion some of that advertising revenue to put in pothole fixing for the additional wear and tear that such large vehicles put on city streets. But you missed another opportunity to honor the great, dearly departed, God, name just went blank. Bob Clemmy, the name that's on every single hanging in this room, downstairs, and upstairs, because for decades you have basically honored him with city money and exclusive. I mean, you've got, what you got here is basically a museum, a Bob Clemmy museum that goes back decades. This could be a great revenue generation in terms of a museum, and you want to make another wayfinding sign, say Bob Clemmy Museum Exhibit, permanent installation right here at City Hall. Anyway, back to business. I find it a bit disconcerting that Ward 5 is represented by someone who has to abstain as often as he does. We would, I think, I speak for a lot of people who would prefer a commissioner that would actually vote in our favor, or at least to represent us more times than has happened so far.
If he serves on another board, he has no choice but to excuse himself from the vote. He's not doing any good because he wishes not.
That makes him an unfortunate choice in that scenario as well. All I can do is
As you know,
cry
that's who the
boo-boo.
voters chose, though. So.
Yes, but I'm getting to the business of the revenue that goes behind the Caw pipeline, and some very big fingers are in that till, will go unnamed. It has to do with the newspaper giving its last report of tax receipts in March 18. The newspaper has been giving regular reports on tax revenue from the Oklahoma Tax Commission, pretty regular, and it was very celebratory every time we did better than the year prior. And then March 18, we didn't do that, and this is after we get additional revenue from liquor sales, additional revenue from CBD shops, additional revenue from online sales we didn't have before. Our tax revenue went down. That was reported March 18th, and we haven't gotten a report from that ever since. The public wants to know where we stand. I mean, it's all well and good that you celebrate a lower interest rate. What we would like to know is, can you even handle the principal? Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We're adjourned.
Thank you for watching the Enid Television Network broadcast of the Enid City Council meeting. Replays of the meeting will air on Channel 12 and 112, including a live stream of the meeting at enidtv.org.